Hello Monster Hunters and Monster Hunties, it is your boy Dak Now Wade, aka the Dig Dug himself, and today, ladies and gents, we're going to be looking at the Lagaiacrus, the flagship monster for the 3rd generation. Well, I'm gonna say it is, he's not, he's the first flagship in the 3rd generation. You had him, you had Bracky, you had, you had him, you had Zenobia, and you had Bracky. And I think, Silver Rathalos was on the cover of 3 Ultimate, but Bracky was on the cover of 3G, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, what does matter is the fact that he is wildly different from, for the most part, let me just say this. For those who've actually never played this game, you've never fought this monster, what I'm about to tell you is probably, wholly new to you. But those who've played Generations, the game that was literally prior to this one, it's the same deal, but I almost want to talk to it from a previous experience, where in which how he acted before, currently, as to what he is like now. I'm probably gonna do that just a little bit to kind of give you guys a level of clarity as to exactly where I'm coming from. But off the top, let's say this monster, you usually fight him underwater, but they since taken the underwater aspect of hunting out of Monster Hunter, and so what they did was they took one of his forms. He actually has 2 forms of subspecies, if you will, and that subspecies is called Ivory. I almost said Silver. Ivory Lagaiacrus, and what Ivory Lagaiacrus' main focus was his ability to fight on land, whereas regular Lagaiacrus, his ability for the most part, was strong suit, I should say, was to fight in water. This time, since there is no water, they kind of gave him his Ivory Lagaiacrus fight set. So a lot of these attacks you're gonna see here is very reminiscent to that of Ivory Lagaiacrus. But regardless, let's just move on. So firstly, let's talk about his attacks, because he has actually quite a few of them. He has a Thunderball, much similar to like a Fireball. It's a Thunderball. It's a ball of electricity he'll shoot out of his mouth. No big deal. However, he has multiple variants to this. He has a variant where he'll just throw it on the ground, or he'll shoot it, it'll land on the ground, and it'll leave like a line of electricity on the ground. And he has another one where he'll throw multiple on the ground, and they will arc lightning together, covering a wider area of space on the ground. So that's it's a bit of an issue if you let him get a little set up, because he can actually command a lot of space around him. Now for his 3rd fireball attack, he has one where he actually crane his neck from one side of his body and then like fling it to the other side, causing this massive arc of electricity in front of him that actually pulses, I think, 3 or 4 times. Extending range at each time it actually pulses. It's a lot of electrical attacks. Those are just the electrical ball attacks. Now he has another attack where it's like an electrical discharge, where he'll focus the electricity in his body in a small field around himself. Okay, he'll do that. It's usually an attack to actually get you away from his immediate vicinity. While he does this, he actually has the ability to point out certain points on the ground, usually at least one spot to where you actually are, that will drop a bolt of lightning on you if you're in his immediate vicinity. If you can't necessarily be hit promptly by the discharge from his body, again, he will summon this small little bolt of electricity. You can really see it because it's usually underneath your body. As you do it, you'll see where you're standing, and there'll be like little electricity crackling right underneath your feet. You stay there, you'll get hit with a bolt of electricity, kind of like just getting struck with lightning. Now, outside of that attack, he has another one where he curls up very, very tightly, and then he expels all that electricity. It used to be a full dome shape, but now they have it to where there's gaps in between, so you can actually run away easier, because back in the day, it was killing people, because it was a very strong attack. It was an unblockable attack. You couldn't block it, you just had to hold that. This time you can block it, so if you have a shield of some sort, you can really do that. Not a lot of time left here, but let's get to the rest of the attacks. He has another attack where he actually curls his body up and he spins around, and he discharges both electricity just like you would around his normal body, and these electrical balls that spin around his body very quickly. Wow, this guy there's more attacks, but honestly I didn't say anything else but talk about his attacks. We don't really have a whole lot of time, because I was putting the Mac down on him and fighting this guy for years. So let's actually move over to what it takes to beat my man up. So if you're gonna actually fight him, you want to attack him in the chest or in the head. I prefer the head, because if you break his head, you actually get his horns, and his horns are integral to making some of the better gear that he actually has to offer. If you can do any of this, I suggest you come in here with either fire and or dragon, preferably fire. You don't have dragon right now, so just go in here with fire. I'm using the Urigan gun lance because it has a little bit of fire, and it's actually very powerful. Now, next, his armor is very lance-like. It gives you stamina recovery up and then 8 points into guard. It has a negative skill towards status, so if you're going to be using status weapons, don't use this armor set. It's just going to make your status ability go lower. So if you have like 23 paralysis, you'll probably have like 18. so don't do it if you're using paralysis or any kind of status weapon. Now his weapons, however, his weapons are actually very good. There's usually in this kind of game there tends to be 3. Okay, check me out here. You have weapons geared towards attack. You have weapons geared towards element. You have weapons geared towards sharpness. Now, there's a 4th. The 4th being the jack of all trades, master of none. Lagaiacrus' weapons are the ones that are geared mostly for attack. So his weapons are usually the thunder weapons with the highest attack. Now there's Kieran, whose thunder weapons are usually the ones with the highest element, and then there's Askell's weapons, who's has the highest sharpness, and then there's Zenogre, who kind of splits the difference of all of that. So that's what makes this stuff so viable. I use his lance very, very passionately. It has a lot of damage to it. It has like 340, 350 attack, 350 raw. And it's just really, really good. A lot of his weapons are actually very strong. I recommend that if you're hunting horn user, his hunting horn is actually a lot of fun to actually use as well. So there's that. Also, his charge blade is actually very, very strong on top of that. So there's a lot of weapons that he has that's just really, really good. So if you're just gonna make some thunder and you're looking to upgrade from Khezu, definitely stop here and grab something nice for yourself. But I think that's everything in a nutshell ish. There's really not much else for me to say. I mean, there's a lot about Lagaiacrus. He has changed a lot over the years, but if you just watch out for literally everything he throws at you, you should be in relatively good hands. The only issue now is you have to find your own way to actually get in and do your damage, because the fact that he actually has the ability to hit you from afar and keep you away from up close makes him a little hard to actually get in, because, well, I mean, he's just really good at that. Like his fighting prowess is actually top notch. So what I would recommend in this particular case is exploits things like adept, exploit things like valor, almost call it brave again, but exploit those things to really like level the playing field for yourself, between yourself and him. I would actually recommend using aerial personally, because his body is so long that you can actually get your aerial jumps off of basically anything that he actually has on his body. So I would do that. If I was you, I would totally do aerial, because it would be a whole lot easier. Also, depth would be really easy, so that way you can actually evade all these attacks that it actually has that keeps his body from being, contained and beat up on. Same with valor, excuse me. But yeah, everyone, that's pretty much all I can really give you on the Lagaiacrus. It's a very, very good monster. I recommend getting any gear that you can from him, because it's all very, very good stuff. I'm probably gonna grind him out, maybe for his armor, maybe low rank. I don't know, I might say for high rank, but who knows. Anyway, it's been your boy Dak, aka the Dig Dug himself. You all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.